head, slowing down and making no time. I gotta keep it rolling. Those windshield.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to a very, very special Rideshare Rodeo Roundtable, the Gig Worker Roundtable, the weekly roundtable. Last week was a great episode with the dlivrd team. Really got a lot out of that, and I think we all did. This is going to have a much different tone tonight, but I'm asking all of you watching on whatever channel you're watching on, we're trying to stream everywhere, please stick around. There's a reason why there are so many people up here tonight. We have Kim's Side Money Plans, of course. Next to her, we have Luis at Delivery TV. Below me, Mr. Gary Middleton. I guess he's back. I don't know what happened. Next to Gary, we have Michelle Sleet. Michelle, by the way, at some point, all of the links will be scrolling across the bottom here very soon. But Michelle has the two largest DoorDash Facebook groups. The links also will be in the show notes. Please link up with her if you're interested. If you do a lot of DoorDash, it's something you probably want to think about. Next to Michelle, we have Mr. Rideshare Garage, Vinny Coos. There's a reason why we're all up here. You guys are going to get it here very shortly. Down below, we have Gig Work Mama, Cheyenne. And next to her, we have what Michelle did a couple weeks ago. It looks like Tom died. Tom Kelly. This show's so awesome, people die on it. So guys, it's quite the lineup. I want to real quick welcome some people into the chat because I don't want to fall behind, and when we get into this, I want to get into it. So hi Karen, how are you? Hey, Joe Rubino. Joe Rubino is with the Denver Post, big writer over there, and we're trying to draw attention to tonight's piece. So Joe, thank you for following that link I gave you. Why are SSN being verified? We're going to get into all this. What's up, Brandon? Hey, Thomas Mathis. Let's see. Hey, Traveler. Queen Brown, how are you? Miko, how are you doing? Guys, check out Miko's channel too. No Customers, No Business. She's trying to do some advocacy stuff as well. Good stuff. And Becky Harris, how are you doing? You guys, the one, the only, the judge. This guy's a judge, man. I went to high school with this dude. Very good friend of mine. He actually is a judge. He's an attorney too, but he's a judge. He works for the water department in Reno, Nevada. And if you're familiar with that, Reno water department carries a lot of weight in the state of Nevada.
Well, I got a good question for him then. Theoretically, if we hold Steve down and tase him until he poops himself, how much trouble can we get in?
I'm interested to see this answer too, Mr. Crano. It's a weird question, but all right. And who else we got in here? Hey, Bubba Sue. I'm hoping I'm not missing anybody. It's scrolling a little slow. Hey, what's up, Yup? And Hustlin' Buddha, how you doing? Lee Kindler, how are you? And Ceci, we got you in here. Josh Gigan. Who else? Rideshare Road Warrior Rick. Yeah, guys, this is a full house. Absolutely. Rodney, what's up? Haven't seen you in forever. Yeah, everybody's coming out for this one. This is big. Donna, how are you? Wait, did Sam have an answer here? Sorry, got a new phone. What was the question? Yeah. Let's see. Okay, guys, that's where I got to. If you have questions tonight, please, questions, comments, concerns as we go, please put them. I will be watching. A big focus of tonight is Luis. He is in the upper corner. If you guys don't know, I'm sure most of you guys know Luis. He runs the largest Spanish gig economy channel, gig app channel on YouTube. And I don't only mean that in terms of his subs and even like the amount of people who watch his lives, his activeness on videos he drops on any platform. because it's Spanish and because he just owns that piece, he's got it. What I'm really happy about isn't so much his 80,000 subs and things like that, other than he can reach them. What I'm really happy about with Luis is Luis and I have an amazing friendship, and we talk off the record all the time. We are trying to do a lot of things to help, and Luis really put himself out there. In my opinion, he really put himself out there for all of us. He has been for a while, but yeah. Luis, we're going to be watching a video that Luis recorded in Spanish. I did use software to translate it to English. You guys are going to think if I hadn't even said it, you guys are going to think he just read it in English. But before we even get into the video and then discuss it, because that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about tonight. And don't go anywhere, you guys. Every gig app worker is going to want to hear this. Doesn't matter what gig app you work. But Luis, you have any preface to this before I play it, and then we'll be discussing?
Just with open mind, the first part of the video is about economy, but then we go deeper in the rabbit hole, and it's gonna get good.
Yeah, and there's and by that, it's not. I mean, we all put out some very good stuff. I've put out a lot of podcasts that I feel like Luis and I have had some great podcasts, but this is just a single piece where he really went above and beyond, and we'll discuss on the other side of it. But everybody kick back. It's about 8.5 minutes long after translated. It is in English, so give it a listen. We will be discussing on the other side. And it is, again, guys, it is very important. Very important. So
the following video is based on information from portals, reports, complaints, and testimonies. The dark side of delivery apps, a network of fraud, bots, and fear.
What began as a revolution for independent workers is now plagued by alleged fraud, exploitation, and broken promises. Uber, DoorDash, Spark, Amazon Flex, all of these platforms once offered flexibility and good earnings. But the current reality seems to be much darker, from the commercialization of fraudulent accounts to potential identity theft. The gig economy is in crisis, and honest drivers are paying the price.
The rise of delivery platforms, an unfulfilled promise.
Just over a decade ago, these platforms offered something novel: job flexibility and good earnings. The proposal seemed incredible. Being your own boss, working at your own pace, and earning a decent income. For some time, this promise was fulfilled. Drivers for Uber, DoorDash, Amazon, among others like Instacart and Shipt, were able to earn between $15 and $25 per hour before deducting operating costs. On average, they received around 70% of each trip or delivery, which allowed them to cover expenses such as fuel and maintenance, and still left a sufficient margin to live comfortably.
The change, more drivers, less income.
Everything began to change in 2019. Demand grew exponentially during the pandemic, and with more drivers on the platforms, fares started to decrease for passengers. However, it is reported that the costs have been transferred to the drivers, who now face commissions of up to 70% from the apps, leaving many with only a fraction of their previous earnings. This pattern has been repeated not only with drivers, but also with small businesses that depend on these platforms. In a conversation with Flex, an entrepreneur who launched a cloud kitchen, he told me that the commissions were so high, almost 50%, that he was forced to close his restaurant. So I start with the first question: who wins in this equation?
The platform. Undoubtedly, the platform is the one that comes out on top, whether it is DoorDash, Sugar Eats, or Grubhub. The collapse of net profits.
For drivers, the effect was devastating. While they could previously earn between $15 and $25 per hour, after deducting costs for gas, maintenance, and insurance, many ended up earning between $8 and $12 per hour. In DoorDash, for example, drivers earn a base pay. Payments range from $2 to $10 depending on various factors, but the reality is that it is rare to see base payments exceeding $3 per delivery, which means that drivers heavily rely on tips to reach a decent income. However, due to high service costs, many customers have stopped tipping or have reduced their tips, leaving drivers trapped in a daily struggle to earn enough. The rise of fraud, fake accounts, and bots has compounded the issue. In addition to financial problems, an even bigger issue has emerged: fraud. When I started my YouTube channel, Delivery TV, I began receiving reports about the use of bots that accepted orders faster than human drivers, giving certain drivers an advantage. This was compounded by the alleged sale of fake accounts in a black market that has grown exponentially. Allegedly, malicious actors have created a black market for fraudulent accounts using stolen identities of American citizens, sold by individuals in South American countries to distributors in the United States. These identity packs would be sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, which has severely affected legitimate drivers who have to compete against these accounts for work.
The trap in Amazon Flex and the manipulation of warehouses.
Amazon Flex has not escaped this problem either. Without the use of bots, it is practically impossible to obtain work blocks. Additionally, organized groups have taken control of many warehouses where they decide who works and who does not. These groups, which often have colorful names like free money, intimidate drivers and in many cases distribute bots.
Internal complicity and organized scams.
The problem does not end with bots and fake accounts. Some reports suggest that employees within the platforms may be involved in the fraud. Just a few days ago, we learned about a fraud involving DoorDash for $1 million, where support agents were accomplices. In the case of Spark Driver, it has been reported that scammers exploit payment accounts from services like Branch and One to withdraw funds generated by fraudulent accounts, allowing withdrawals of up to $10,000 at stores like Walmart without requiring additional verifications, removing Branch or One as options in Spark, and leaving only direct deposits to the personal accounts of drivers. It could help curb some of the fraud, as it is one of the main tools used by users of irregular accounts to withdraw money, but all these suggestions always fall on deaf ears.
Manipulation of verifications and forgery of documents.
In addition to the use of fraudulent accounts, scammers allegedly manipulate facial verification systems and forge documents. Testimonies have revealed that workers within Spark, specifically from the company DDI, are allegedly selling links for amounts ranging from $1,000 to $10,000 to hackers so they can change critical information such as social security numbers and driver's licenses. These links would allow for unlocking deactivated accounts or creating fraudulent accounts, which further exacerbates the situation. Friends from Spark, friends from DDI, of course I offer you your right to reply. Do you have anything to say?
Consequences of identity theft fraud.
The problem of identity theft has escalated so much that recently Business Insider revealed how people who have never worked for Uber or DoorDash receive 1099 forms from the IRS for income they never earned. A particularly striking case is that of Brandon Emerson, who received a letter from the IRS stating that his wife owed $10,000 in taxes for earnings from dollars that she never received. This is not an isolated case. Faith Gardner from Richmond, California, received forms totaling $66,000 in income from DoorDash, despite never having worked for the company. The sale of stolen identities is just one part of a much larger scheme that would be affecting thousands of American citizens.
The case of Priscilla Barbosa, the queen of the rideshare mafia.
Another notable case was covered by Wire, where Priscilla Barbosa was accused of generating over $780,000 through the creation and rental of approximately $2,000 fake accounts on platforms like Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and Instacart. Barbosa, known as the Pi Queen of the rideshare mafia, operated a fraud network that allowed her to make large profits using stolen identities and fraudulent accounts. Adding Barbosa's fraud of over $780,000 reported by Wire and the $1 million fraud in DoorDash revealed by 404 and CourtWatch, it amounts to almost $2 million, and this is just the tip of the iceberg.
The fear and insecurity of honest drivers.
This climate has created an atmosphere of distrust among legitimate drivers who fear reporting due to the risk of being intentionally disconnected or facing retaliation. The informants assert that those involved in the fraud are not usually violent, but the high level of money at stake could generate risks.
A broken system that needs to be corrected.
Today, what was once an innovative solution for flexible work has become a system plagued by corruption and alleged fraud. Drivers no longer trust the platforms that once promised so much. Although there are those who manage to make a living, the barriers continue to grow. The story of gig economy platforms is a story of broken promises, of opportunities turned into traps, and of a system that, if not corrected, continues to allow the alleged corruption to grow unchecked. My name is Berti. Here I leave you a related video. And if you like this, 1, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel.
That's not good. We've all talked about this in many ways. Thank you, Luis, for finally putting it together in a way that, because I know there's even other things that I don't know if we can talk about here tonight or whatnot that you have done. And the reason I say that is because I don't want Luis in any fear for him or his family's life. And this is no joke, you guys. He has seen a lot. He has been very transparent about it because he's so passionate about this cause, and that's what I love about Luis. But at the same time, I worry for him as well. If he's worried at all, I'm worried. So, Luis, are you that worried?
Of course. Saying that I'm not, it's dumb. I'm worried about me, about my family. I'm so worried that today I have a weekly live stream in my YouTube channel, and I was saying today that this is the last call. This is the last video that I'm gonna do about this subject, because one thing caught my attention today. I'm gonna share it with you, and is that in all these trip, in all this time that I've been reporting these type of things, one thing is I realized one thing, and is that the audience, and this is a hard pill to swallow, okay? But my audience, at least 98%, don't care. So today on my live stream, I was saying that this is my last call, and I was talking to the mafias, and I was saying, don't come to me because this is my last call. I won't do anything else because I feel really alone here. And in my time, every time I share this on my live stream, this type of matters and subject. And let me tell you, after I share this type of content, the backlash, the messages, it's you need wine to get through that, right? So
Oh man.
every time I share this, what I try to invite people is to send this information to the journalist. I'm tired of sending messages to the apps. They don't care. I'm not in this video. I'm not talking to the apps. In this video, I'm not talking, with all due respect, to the drivers, at least the drivers of my audience, because I really feel that they don't care. And I told them that today. And I'm doing this video for journalists, for media, for you, to break the language barrier. But and with this I finish. In these 3 years that I've been reporting this, I've been sharing the emails of the journalists and the emails of the media, and I ask the audience to send this information to the media. And today I ask to the viewers of my live stream. I have almost 600 people connected via TikTok and YouTube, and I asked them directly, did you send any email in these past 3 years to any media, any journalist? Everybody said no. So I told them, I'm alone. So that's it. This is a really difficult situation and battle, and I'm not gonna fight by myself. And that's why I'm here, to share this and ask you and also your audience to fight, because I cannot do it by myself. And I don't want to do it by myself. I want to go and have fun with my family, and don't worry about going to a Walmart and have to use a hat and glasses, and because this is a difficult situation. I'm scared. I don't sometimes I cannot do delivery. I cannot do delivery. If I go to a Walmart, who is there? Who is there?
You don't know. Well, you know, but you don't. But then again, the bigger point is you don't know, and
I
you don't
cannot
know,
do-
and you
I
don't know who
cannot.
might know you. And
I
now, I mean,
cannot
you are
afford
very public in your market now. And I mean,
No.
I say your market, but I could easily just say, look, this is his market, because it doesn't matter anymore, because that's why he's fearful. He has a huge channel.
Mm.
When he goes live, he has 200, 300, 400 people in those lives. I mean, this is no joke. He owns the Spanish community. He is the Spanish community on YouTube.
and
And
is
yeah.
is and people ask me, do you do delivery? No. How do I do delivery? If I'm doing a DoorDash order and I find myself in a street with who, what? No, I prefer to be. I don't know if you saw the series, the show Breaking Bad.
Yep.
This house where they hide Walter White in the end. I live next door to that house. That is my situation today, and I'm Jesus. Well, here is Sergio. He's been really helpful and really helping with the, well, also you, Steve, with the English barrier and sharing this information. But with the audience, I really feel alone. So thank you for letting me.
That's why we're all here with you tonight. That's why I wanted to do this like this. Sergio, thank you for joining us. But
Hey,
look,
guys.
we just watched the video. I translated it over to English. I'll send you a copy, Sergio, but or you can watch it on here. But we just watched it. I know you and I had seen it subtitled, but we just watched it in English so that everybody in the chat saw it. We just went through it. We do have a Denver Post reporter in the chat tonight that I invited. Hopefully he will be commenting or picking up this article. I told him tomorrow I'm sharing it with everybody. Every journalist or every paper I've worked with in the state, which is a lot, but I wanted him to have first shot at it because he's Denver Post and that's the biggest publication here. So, Sergio, what do you have to add to this? Just knowing we just watched the video, everybody just got through it.
Well, I mean, I watched the video, obviously, but we've been in touch with Luis for almost a year now, specifically about this subject. And, you know, I mean, his gathering of the evidence is immensely helpful for this to get out to the right people, to the hands of the right people. And those will be, you know, journalists, obviously, mainstream. Because the companies, as we know, they're not going to do much about it. It benefits them to a point. I'm pretty sure it does. But, you know, every time I do speak to a journalist, which they have the video, I sent the video to all of them. I mean, I have a couple of, I'm trying to decide who should do the job, actually. But the point is, more than the, you know, drivers are drivers. Drivers come and go. The consumer is the permanent victim here, to be perfectly honest with you. So the consumer is, you know, who's taking you to the airport, who's picking you up at a bar when you're drunk, who's bringing your groceries, who's delivering your food. You know, that's the crux of the issue. I mean, and more and more of the, you know, when will this just go mainstream? Will it be that a couple of people get killed, a couple of consumers get killed, there's, God forbid, they get raped or whatever? My thing is, it is unsafe for the consumer, and consumer, as we know, pays for all the bills. But the consumer needs to know. But I guess they're, at the moment, you know, they're choosing convenience over whatever. I mean, Steve, you know, you know, we're gonna do a little content together as well. You know, you order food, somebody else brings you the food. I mean, it's just, to me, that's unsafe.
Yeah.
Now, you guys can be a stickler about it and say, what's the big deal? Let everybody live. Let everybody make some money. I don't think.
Yeah,
it's
but even the one example that you and Chris have video of, and Chris is in the chat. Welcome, Chris. That one video you have, I have another one I think I got for you. It might not be as good because the one that you already have showcases not just, hey, this might be the wrong person. It is the wrong race. It is the wrong car. Fully tinted windows, no license plate, male driver, female account, and a teenage boy delivers the food.
Yeah. I mean, it happens to me quite a bit when I'm delivering. I actually did deliveries to prove something else regarding Prop 22 for the last 4 weeks. And every time, I go pick up at a certain place, which, they're high-end restaurants. So I see guys parked with sitting literally in front of the restaurant with 3-4 phones in their hands. And actually one of them was Armenian. I went to him and I started talking Armenian to him. I go, how come you got like 3-4 phones? He's looking at me like, are you a cop or what's happening? And I straight up ask him, is this your account? Are you working on your account? Or are you just all these different accounts? And, most of them don't answer it. But this guy flat out said, yeah, I got 3 different accounts on 3 different phones. I'm doing it. I'm like, okay. That's the only way I can make money, he goes. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, here I see 3 is like a low amount, usually 4 or 5, but even like sometimes there's even another batch on their passenger seat. It's it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, so real quick, accolades to you, Luis. You got
Thank you.
great
Thank you.
video from Bubba Sue. What a comprehensive state of the gig economy. Absolutely. And they say there's no money in the gig economy. As bad as it sounds, smashing my head. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure you do, guys, because people need to see this. Share it. Do whatever. I don't always say share it or whatever, but do all that stuff. Share it out. Even Vinny was saying, wow, grandpa, wow. Sadly, most don't care when it comes to taking these actions. Absolutely. Thank you for bringing this, Kim, this topic for awareness. Yeah, this is what we're doing, guys. Chris, hey, how you doing? Miko's watching over on Facebook. Zach, how are you? Thanks for joining. Oh my God, full house. Yeah, absolutely, guys. We are very serious about this. And so, I even want to go as far as to say, Luis, you and I have talked, there's some stuff that if you put in this video, you really would be beyond risk. I'd actually say you probably have to leave, at least temporarily or something. Like if you were to, I'm not saying there's a lot more and, oh my gosh, all this stuff, but it's good that you lay low, because I know that you actually, I won't say how, I'm being very careful here because we talk a lot, but I know that I know that you have a firsthand understanding of how this actually works down there, and that's all I'll say about it. But
and it's fair to say to those bad actors, if there's any, I'm not the only one who have the info. So you can come to me, but I'm not the only one who have the info. So you will be wasting your time. So that's it. That's all I have to do. And yeah, it's risky. But someone has to say something, and I decided to do a step forward. And because this is the situation, as a content creator, I have 2 paths to take. The first one is to say that this is Disneyland, and the second one is the truth. This is not Disneyland. And some content creators think that this is Disneyland, and this is not Disneyland. This is serious, and the situation changed. And yeah, I think I'm gonna take some vacations, and we'll see. I'm always moving.
Yeah. But but we do have to keep you safe. I've had enough conversations with you off the record or on other podcasts that if it's all pieced together, it's you really have, Sergio mentioned it. You've been talking to Sergio and me, and we've been talking about this for well over a year. Yeah, Sergio said a year. I think that's being nice. We've been talking about it for longer than that. We've just been really seeing it explode the last year, and especially this calendar year. We've been really getting around it. Cheyenne, you're in Canada. I know this is just probably mind-blowing to you, but I'm interested in your take before we get into Gary has some knowledge on bots and Kim's take on this as she's been affected in her market. And I want to hear from Vinny and Tom and Michelle and everybody, but I want to hear from you first because you're in Canada and you have your own set of problems, but they're not these.
You know what's funny? So you mentioned that it's not these, but there was actually an article. Well, it's like a news report that I was watching just yesterday, and it was about truck drivers. And you know how normally they're supposed to go to truck driving school and they have to do like 10,000 hours or whatever the case might be. And they were bused in a few places where the guy went and he's like, so when can I get started? Can I get started tomorrow? And the guy's like, you can get started today. They pay $4,500 and now they can become a truck driver driving 18-wheelers. And I'm seeing we have a big problem. Like a lot of people don't talk about it, but we do have a big problem here with immigration, why they're changing the rules. Actually, they've reduced the amount of international students that can come here. Because that's one of the big problems that we have. A lot of people are coming on international student visas and they're just wreaking havoc. So this does not surprise me that something like this would be going on here as well. It really doesn't.
Right.
Because
it's
of all
just
the other craziness.
not the scale.
Yeah, no.
But the fact that you're seeing it at all is kind of crazy. I mean, you live in a completely not only a different country, a country that operates extremely different than we do.
Yeah, so it operates extremely different, but one thing, especially I can say in Quebec, I'm not oblivious to the fact that out of all the provinces that are fairly corrupt, Quebec is known to be one of the provinces that has the most corruption. So this would not surprise me if this was here. It completely would not. Like a lot of people think of Canada and they think, oh, we're so nice. And, you know, we say thank you for everything and blah, blah, blah. And we're nice to everybody. But there's a lot going on here that just doesn't get publicized, right? Like,
absolutely.
There's a whole gang war going on right now that nobody hears about unless you're really looking into it. But, you know, this one guy had 2 of his buildings burnt down. People died. Shots at his house. Car lit on fire last week. Like, something's going on over here, you know? So it would not surprise me if something like this is happening in Canada at all.
Yeah.
Maybe I can start doing content in Canada. Nah.
Dude, they'll be ready for you. She's in Montreal, Quebec, and obviously that cartel action, that'd be one of the first places.
Yeah.
Montreal
this would be one of the first places.
Or Vancouver.
Yeah.
And those are like the 2 places you couldn't go.
Yeah. This would be one of the first places that they would try. The only thing that might like slow them down over here is the French. But other than that, like other people have figured out ways to come and do things over here. So Montreal would definitely be one of the first places.
But see, and that's what I was getting at. That's the stepping stone to where we are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're
like at first it was just some people doing this thing. Then it was like, wait a minute, and people over the line were hearing it, and they're like, well, quit sending 5 people, send 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and again, one of the biggest takeaways I had from Luis's piece was the fact of the taxes. We talked about this before. Here is the proof. He put it out. There are taxes of people saying, hey, you earn 60 grand. No, I didn't. I've never worked these platforms in my life. We knew this was coming. Who's going to pay those taxes? We all are, on top of our taxes. Yeah. So I guess before I jump over to Kim, let me go to Vinny after hitting on that, because I also had this comment here, and we were talking backstage before the show, and I had to live in Miami for 2 years when I was training to work for the company that I freelance for. And Vinny was, saying, well, we got that problem here too. I was saying how it's got to be so strange there because you already have a huge divide of like everything. We say melting pot. New York ain't no melting pot. Miami's the only melting pot.
Miami, for sure.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only melting pot.
For sure. Most diverse region in the country without question. When you think about Southeast Florida, well, South Florida now in general too, you're talking Central South America, the entire Caribbean. People forget there are so many islands when you say Caribbean, they think either Jamaica or the Bahamas. They don't think Cuba, Puerto Rico, St. Lucia, Barbados. You got all those islands, right? All of Central and South America. We have when I was growing up as a kid, you always heard about the Cuban people, right? With the Mariel, 78, 79, and 80. But now, forget about it. I mean, it's just huge. Western Africa, all of Europe. Hell, we got Russians and Ukrainians partying on North Beach, trying to figure out why they're fighting over there when they're over here loving each other. You know, we're
when you see Vinny, when you see this comment, and I'm sure you know this person, when you see this comment, what comes to mind for you? Because even when I lived down there, and again, that was the late 90s. I'm not trying to age myself or date myself or anything, but thanks for laughing, China. But when you see this comment, what comes to mind? Because I mean, to many people, it's like, well, if it's the melting pot, how do you even notice? Are you sure it's going on? Kind of thing. Like,
well, you can always tell. So the big, if you want to call it the big awakening, or the first time that I really took notice to it was during COVID, during the pause. I call it the pause, so nobody gets a copyright strike on the other word. Okay, I call it the pause. All of a sudden, you began to see 2, 3, 4, 5x Suburbans. Now I know I'm talking rideshare for a minute, but follow me. So all of a sudden you see a lot less Toyota Corollas and a lot more Suburbans, a lot more Escalades, a lot more Navigators, big heavy duty vehicles. And all of a sudden, and at that time I was driving the Cadillac, the XT6, and you start to see the rides start disappearing. Not as many going out there. Then you go to the airports. And to me, all you ever got to do is go to the airport, right? For us in our market, Fort Lauderdale International Airport does not have a cap. So if they could stuff 450 cars in that queue, they will do it. Mm-hmm. Well, it used to be, oh man, there's 100 cars in queue. I'm not going there. Now there's 300. 300. When you're driving through the airports and all of a sudden you see people in the designated pickup areas, they're holding signs out their windows says Uber available, Uber available, Uber available. You start to see these massive numbers of vehicles in an area you never saw them before. Well, where are they all coming from? Mm-hmm. There's not that many damn Uber drivers. And then, you start talking to some people on the quiet, on the QT. You don't say anything like, man, they're renting accounts left and right. You go on Facebook, you can rent an account, anything you want. They got Telegram groups. They got WhatsApp groups. I had somebody approach me, say, hey man, I'll give you $500. Let me use your account.
Yeah.
So you telling me I can make $500 and sit on my hind parts?
Yeah, but we all know what happens. Who knows what they do while they're that's the biggest part. Do they take a teen ride and abuse them and say it was you? More importantly, you're going to pay the taxes anyway. I mean, not more importantly, but you're going to pay all these taxes anyway. So like whoever's getting in,
the IRS is undefeated. The IRS is undefeated. The federal government is undefeated. And when they start dropping the hammer on folks, I mean, hell, if Hertz can throw you in jail for a car you never rented, imagine what the IRS can do to you for not paying your $10 worth of pound of flesh. So that's how we see it down here. There's tons and tons. And you mentioned, I believe it was Luis says when he goes to pick up an order, or I don't do delivery, but I'm sure folks on the panel I've seen, I know you, Miss Kim, I know you do a lot of deliveries. Aaron does deliveries. And I remember when Aaron first went with his video, he had 4 or 5 people sitting out there just watching. I don't know if y'all know what a Wawa is, but Wawa is a gas station that sells food. It's more of a someplace you can go buy food, convenience store that happens to sell gas. That's how I look at it. Gary, I think Gary will agree with me, right? There's one 5 minutes from my house. At any given time, there are 4 or 5 cars sitting out there waiting on Uber Eats, DoorDash orders at a Wawa. We're talking about a bougie gas station. So, it's ridiculous, man. I feel bad for folks. I really do.
Yeah. Kim, so far with where we are, with what you've heard so far, and then I'm going to Michelle, or then I'm going to Tom, Michelle, and we're going to end with Gary about bots, because I have a question for Gary about the bots and what we can do. But what do you got that you're taking in so far? Because again, guys, we don't need to rehatch this. Some of you probably missed this. We had a roundtable where we were talking about this, but one in specific where I will just give the quick overview. Kim in her market, or in a market, I don't want to give away anything here, was approached by somebody who had an illegal account and was pounding on her window and shoving a phone in her face. Now, this is somebody who recognizes her from YouTube. and they want to know the layout of that area, where they should park, where they should be, and they're demanding. So that said, and with what's happened here, what say you? I mean, let's just get it out there.
Well, I'm going to be honest. Since that happened, I've stepped away from talking a lot about this because of what happened to me. And I don't, just like Luis has put himself out there, I put myself out there. And not that it did. It shook me up when it happened because
it's creepy. It's beyond creepy. It's scary.
And now I have to be very careful about what I talk about. I have to be very careful about what I show, making sure that no one knows any markers. Like, I have to be extremely careful. So it's a topic I tend to shy away from anymore, just because.
Yeah. We're not going to rehatch. I just thought this tonight we should at least address it.
Yeah, I guess I can say though that, I've been observing this for a while, and I've talked about this for a while, but it's to the point where no one's really doing anything about it, right? You go into a restaurant, they have the power, they see it firsthand, they have the power to do something, and a lot of things get ignored. Customers have the power to do stuff, it gets ignored. These companies have powers to do something, and it gets ignored. So it's to the point where, for me personally, because I can because I'm a full-time driver, I go to work, I concentrate on myself, I go make my money, and I shut out what really is going on, so I can just carry on my day and go make the money the way that I want to make my money. So in the end, it doesn't affect me any longer because I don't allow it to affect me any longer. But that's kind of my take. Until something's done about it, we're going to keep going in circles and talking about it.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up that it's happened to you. In my market, it's different. I haven't been approached in that way, but I see things that I can't believe I'm seeing. And we all know that you guys can say you got a ton in your markets of these issues. We are the number one per capita. I talk with Luis about this often. I see that. I told Luis, you fly in, dude, it'll be like the zoo. I'll take you to different restaurants and I will show you, oh, we're going to see 10 here. Watch this. And I'm going to tell you how it operates even before we get there. Like, I've got this down. And this is just from 2-3 times at a place watching it. They have got this down, and they definitely have a way of being not only aggressive when they show the phones, but just being aggressive in nature. They have a way of presenting themselves in a way of like, don't mess with me. Don't pull that. You don't speak English, don't do anything. They just shove things in your face, and they're very demanding as a whole, from what I've seen.
Steve, until somebody fires back, until somebody flips that aggression on them, it's going to continue. It's like what Kim said, it's what you said, and Louis, real quick, buddy. Listen, that might be one of the best damn videos I've ever watched. Ever. Your video it's phenomenal. And I pray that the people pick up on that video. We've had some good videos. The one Sergio and them just put out. Very good video. I've seen some other videos on Uber itself and the origins. Very good, high production quality videos. Yours is right there. And I really do hope it gets out there. Steve, like I'm saying, people are going to be aggressive because it seems like here nobody wants to pick up that battle. Right? You mentioned Kim Caven? That's the name, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Kim Cavan. I want to make sure I get it right.
Yep.
She fights. She pounds her chest. She stands on the table. She's doing her thing. Yep. There's a couple of people out in California, a couple of politicians.
I'll put it up for those while he's talking. For those of you that know Kim, this was put out today. These punches landed. I called out freelance busting in my testimony this week before Minnesota Task Force. The SEIU representative described such concerns as bullshit. Kim Cavan. Now, Kim writes for the Washington Post. Kim writes for the New Yorker. Kim writes for Newsweek. Kim writes for the Chicago Times. Kim writes for the Boston Globe. Kim writes for the Washington Post. She writes for a lot of things. She also writes books. She is amazing. She has a court case against the PRO Act against freelance busting. She has a new website called freelancebusting.com. Go join, you guys. Say I sent you. She's amazing. And the other thing that came out, so came out. The only other screenshot we got is here's another little clip. I knew that I had landed some punches against the freelance busting brigade when I received this email from a leading voice in Minnesota business community. Loved your testimony, and the Minnesota nice people I work with are like, oh my God, New Jersey in the house. I knew Kim would like that. Those words flashed across my screen a few minutes after I testified via video before Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison's advisory task force on worker misclassification. This is today.
Yeah, but I mean, with all due respect to Kim, I think her bone to pick is with the unions and freelancers staying, freelancers misclassification. I don't think she has anything to do with this subject that we're talking about.
No, I'm just bringing in some. You're absolutely right. Look, she's self-employed freelancers. You're traditional independent contractors.
Well, my point to that, my point to that was, outside of Sergio, Steve, and all of us in our own ways on our channels, we're like this big of a voice, right? And like Lewis said, there are so many people that drivers they're not worried. They ain't got, no offense, but drivers don't have time to worry about these things, right? They get barely enough time to complain about it. It's hard for them to worry with inflation and bills and the economy and all of that stuff we all know, right? So who is it that stands up for us that actually can drop a hammer? Sergio did a video with a guy, one of the guys, local guys here, right? Exposing the DoorDash. I don't know if you guys saw that video or not, where they exposed how the guy rented out his DoorDash account. Okay. We noticed 2 weeks ago now, all of a sudden, not as many drivers at the airport. All of a sudden, tons of surge in the area. Not great surge, but it's more than what we were getting. All of a sudden, not so hard to get a ride anymore. So we know that the apps have the power to stop it. They choose not to. And again, I'll refer to Sergio. Sergio talks with, and Steve, you guys talk with all of these folks.
Well, Sergio really has had the big folks. And honestly, I think we all come to the same conclusion. We might be different little angles and twists on it, but they don't care.
Right.
Well, there you go. I mean, I've signed an NDA. I can't say much about these things, but there is stuff to come. So I honestly, other than that, I don't want to be like this mysterious thing.
Yeah.
But I can't talk about it. But look, just like when we did with the algorithmic wage discrimination, these things take time to set up. These things take time to collect evidence. These things take time, and the wheels are in motion, but all you can do is just set it in motion, and how fast it happens, how many people get hurt in the meantime, how many drivers go broke because their markets are completely oversaturated. And most of I'm not a PC person. We have elections coming up. One side's clear message is that a lot of these people will be shipped home, so that may help the situation here and there. But look, there are people there are agencies looking into this, and when they come calling, these companies need to respond. And
look at David Pickerel is under an NDA. I'm under an NDA that actually was from last year that ends soon. Mine is a 1 year. I don't know what Sergio's is. I think somebody else on this panel is under an NDA, but I won't say anything. I will let him when it comes around to him. But I do want to ask Tom too. Tom, what is your take on this? Because you do rideshare in Houston, and you enjoy it, and you're not seeing the problem, and that's very weird to me.
But because I'm a lot like him, in that I just do my thing, and I'm not really searching for it, looking for it. Now, what happened was 2 weeks ago, the brakes went out on the Ubermobile. And so I switched over to the Camaro and done nothing but deliveries for the last 2 weeks. You guys know I've never done deliveries. Never. And so I've been doing deliveries the last 2 weeks, and wow, different world, different group of people that I'm working with, different people that I'm running into at the restaurants. But I want to just take this to a slightly different area. You guys know that my background is from TNC Radio, that was dedicated to working with our 18-wheeler friends who are out there doing driving. And the same thing exists over there. Only picture this for a minute, okay? So they have what we don't have right now, which are laws directly tied to this. But here's the way the law works. So let's say I own 10 trucks and I hire a driver who I know is illegal. Okay. And by illegal, I mean, he could not be in the States legally. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, doesn't matter. He doesn't have the proper credentials to drive an 18-wheeler. Mm-hmm. So I send him out on the road and I say, I will pay you $10,000 for the next 30 days to make all of these different deliveries. And I'll cover all your diesel fuel and all that kind of stuff. Now, if he gets caught, he's going to jail.
Yeah, but there's also trucking bookers in that mix who are working with the cartels who damn well would lose their ability to contract.
But no, that's the thing, Steve, is that the bookers and the owners, if I get caught having sent somebody out there, the driver goes to jail, the driver pays the $100,000 penalty, and you know what my penalty is? $5,000 as the truck owner. $5,000. So why the hell not? Why the hell not take the risk? Because if I get caught, okay, on my third one, I might get sanctioned, and there's a slight chance that somebody might pull my credentials as a truck owner. Not that that would necessarily stop anybody, but the thing is, the people who really make this stuff happen, if they do get caught, it doesn't matter to them because they're not the ones who have to pay the penalties. Mm-hmm. And it's not that much different in the world that we're living in the rideshare delivery world, right? Rideshare / delivery world, in that if they do pull somebody over and he's illegal and he's doing it wrong, maybe that guy gets in trouble. But if you'll notice, based on the very excellent video we just saw, those aren't the guys who are making, I mean, seriously, the guys who are out there doing this driving, they're not the ones making the money either. Okay?
No.
Woman,
and that's something Luis and I have talked at length about.
So the people who are really making the money off this stuff, they're the ones that, where the law is broken, we got to come down and we got to get our congressmen and our senators and everybody across the board to start putting together laws that highly penalize these people when they do the kind of stuff that they're doing. Because the driver, okay, so he gets busted, he goes to jail, he has to spend 60 days in lockup and come up with $10,000, which he does not have, in fines that he'll be paying for over time. And the person who put him out there to start with, nothing happens to them. And right now, we're in a technology space that is exceeded the laws that we have to address it. And we have to help our politicians understand what's really happening here so that they can work with. Now, fortunately, where I live, it just so happens, coincidence, that the guy who is the congressman from my area is really into this stuff. But he's like one voice out of, the 500 that are in Washington, and the other people in Washington don't get what he's saying when he's trying to explain that the laws are written poorly and we got to tighten this up and we got to come down hard on the people who are really creating the problem. The other ones just don't get it, and the head of the unions couldn't care less. They just don't care. Or they don't understand. I'm not sure what it is, but they're not doing anything either. So if we don't have them, if we don't have OOIDA, if we don't have the Teamsters, if we don't have those guys leaning on Congress, it just comes up empty.
And Steve, what he didn't mention is even if that truck owner gets fired from a company or a broker, it takes less than 48 hours to get hired on with another company or another broker.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
So-
I guess it depends
that
on your
simple.
trucking situation too. Are you an independent trucker? Or are you working for a trucking company? Or
Well, even if you're working for a trucking company, like me as a driver, I can go. I still got my CDL now. You know, I haven't driven a truck in 10 years. I can go get a job tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
It really
It's that
is.
simple. You know, and what he was saying is Congress doesn't know. You know why? Because the average age of somebody at Congress is what, like 62. I mean,
they don't
let's just be real. The older people are, the less in touch with technology they are.
Yeah, they don't understand what's happening here at all. So, you know, I don't want this program to end in a hopeless area here.
no, it's not gonna. We're gonna get to Michelle and Gary, and then we're gonna go back to Luis and see if
You
Sergio
know,
has
I
a last
want us to
comment.
keep working on this, and for us to work together to let our local politicians know here's what the real issue is, and you know, let's put some thought to that offline too, Steve, about because you've done some great stuff in the past about us sending letters and notifying our politicians about you know, the issues that we're seeing. We've got to get this front and center, and the only way to do that at this level is grassroots, you know, and that includes everybody watching this, everybody on the panel, everybody just pressing. Yeah, well, you're going to make some enemies.
Yeah, but they're not people you'd want as friends anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Michelle, we're going to go to you. Well, before that, though, we're going to move Luis into the center here because Luis. Kim has a comment, but first, let me just mention I want to move Luis into the middle because we all have Luis's back. We all have Luis protected. We're not doing, you know, this is no joke. And I know a lot of you in the chat feel the same way. So I felt like, okay, let's put him in the middle here. So go ahead.
Just real quick. I just think this is a very valid point from Thomas. Just unfortunately, how many people are on the take and how high does it go?
Yeah.
How many takes are there?
Right.
I mean, like there could be a guy dipping his hand in somebody's pocket 3 times, another guy dipping it in somebody's 2. I mean, who knows? I mean, because we all we do know is what trickles down to us, the drivers. And it's not anywhere close to the old days that Gary and I remember of a 20%, 80% split. And like, oh, then Sergio remembers it too. Like, oh, look at, we're being transparent and you get most of the money. And no, that's not what it is. But Michelle, does I'm sure Michelle has over 200,000 active users in her 2 Facebook DoorDash groups. That is a huge number. She's almost to 250,000.
Yeah.
And so I know we've talked about this many times. If you were to add some 2 cents in here, what is it? I mean, like, I know you hear it from people all the time.
Well, let's make this video get out tonight. And let's say this is the face of the delivery industry. We are the delivery industry. Luis, I loved your video. Serge, I can't tell you how many people in my group have submitted your algorithm post to be reposted hundreds of times. And so it's out there. But somebody has to be the voice of the delivery industry. I just want to say as well is that there is a natural progression happening here that DoorDash is deactivating at an incredible pace at far ID. And we're getting this all the time. I got a question to get my ID. I'm getting ID'd every day. And today I didn't pass it. I'm on pause because of ID. And they are cracking down. And if any of you want to go live, I can get 80,000 on at night. The voice on 250,000 group members. Some overlap, but we can get out and these people that are in all these Facebook groups that are watching your YouTube videos are looking for a way to get out there. And they also think that what an industry where I earn $2 base pay. And this is a crime. But in a post-pandemic world, post-2019, that 16% of US workers are in the gig economy and growing every day. They don't want to work a 9 to 5. They're never going to work a 9 to 5 again. And once you get a taste of the gigs, it's hard to get out and get that W-2. So
yeah, especially when the W-2 isn't secure anymore, and good luck getting a decent one.
no,
Those days of like saying, "Oh, that's flooded with W-2,"
because today's
sorry
environment
about my language, but bullshit.
is flexibility and the ability to be flexible. The crux and the shame of it is that many of us here look at what we do as our business, and I can't get a lot of our people to view it as their business. They think DoorDash is a joke. And I don't want them to view that. And I wish that we had a better cooperation between the gigs and us. There seems to be that mysterious man behind the curtain that we can't get to.
Thank you. And Gary, I want to see what you can add about bots, and then Luis, you're on deck, because man, we need to hear from you again after hearing all of this. But Gary, what about bots? I mean, first of all, here's my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong. Stay away from them, especially those people that are asking you to join them. Look at where they're at. Come to my Instagram page. I'm Trolls47 alert or whatever they are. You know, it's like, are you kidding me? Like you want me to go there, connect with you, and then you're going to ask for all my banking information and passwords. But on top of that, what do you have to say about the bots?
They're never going to go away. I mean, being realistic with you, drivers, besides us, like, you know, some drivers care, but most drivers would use a bot.
Yeah.
If it gives them an advantage, the companies, they don't care. Companies can shut down these bots in a matter of days. They could. I mean, there's so many things they could do to shut down a bot. I can think of one right off the bat is most bots run on a web service and they grab it from the back end. All these companies got to do is, you know, tie the acceptance to that IP, you know, or device ID, and you can no longer see it. Like when you open, because like DoorDash, for example, you can open that on 5 different phones all at the same time and see the same order you just accepted across all 5 phones. If DoorDash went in and said, hey, only this phone or this device ID that accepted it can see this order, they would no longer be able to use bots and stuff like that, you know, or like Spark, for example. Yeah. You know, because you can only see it from that one device. So that means if a web service grabbed it, guess what? No device can see it. Only that web service could see it. I mean, that would solve, you know, not all the bot problems, but that's a start.
Well, so, okay, then while you're here, why wouldn't you say that they won't? And I know they won't, but why wouldn't they care enough to stop that? That's just adding more cost to the customers, more confusion. People calling in, going, dude, I don't know. I saw a batch and it disappeared. Like,
well, I mean, are you going to take a $2 order going 12 miles?
Am I going to take what?
A $2 order going 12 miles.
Hell no.
Okay. Some immigrant that is using a bot will.
Yeah, and especially if it's an illegal account and there's no taxes behind it too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're going to take it. They don't care. They're probably going to stack it with other stuff from another account or something like that. So what is the incentive to stop a bot if they have to get these orders to the customers? And you're not going to take it. I'm not going to take it. Sergio sure in the hell ain't going to take it. So I mean, the company doesn't care who takes it as long as it gets there.
Look, for 4 years on the audio podcast, I have been, and I know Sergio has been talking about it for as long too. Luis has been talking about it forever. Transparency is the true answer, and it's the easiest answer. Just be transparent, and you could actually avoid all this money that you dump millions at, and go, you know what? Just keep hiding things. Be evil. Like, transparency really is the answer.
To me, it is. I mean, but it's still not going to solve their problem of people not taking a $2 12-mile delivery. They're just not. I mean, today is the first time I've done Spark in probably 4 years. I never do Spark. I don't care to do Spark. I hate Spark. I hate the concept of Spark. Like, it's terrible. I mean, you sit there, you got to wait at a Walmart, and then you accept the order. Oh, well, you're too early for the order. Now wait 10 minutes before you can even pull over there and pick up an order. And then you got to wait on loaders coming. It's terrible. I don't want to do it. So
Yeah.
somebody's got to do it, and they have a system that's built around bots. It's just how it is. You know, if you can get into their web service, you can grab the orders before drivers can see it. Walmart could solve this problem pretty easy. I mean, I remember a while back, Walmart said, "Oh, we're going to start checking your IDs when you pick up these orders."
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, they didn't do that. I rolled up, and the guy's like, "Okay, where you want it?" Wherever you put it, I guess. You know?
Well, is it the loader? Is that what they're called on
Yeah,
Spark?
the loaders.
The loaders, I mean, we already know this. This isn't just from Louise. I've seen this in many places. The loaders are in on this. The loaders have the ability to take away an order from Gary and give it to Kim just because they want to.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. If the companies solve the problem of multiple accounts or illegal accounts, do you think the bot problem would automatically solve itself?
No. I mean, let's be illegal accounts or immigrants or whoever. They're not the only ones using the bots.
No, I was going to say maybe even not half.
Yeah. I wouldn't say there's some, but I mean it's spread across everybody. Drivers are looking for an advantage over another driver, and it's not the driver's fault. I'll say that clearly. It is not a driver fault. It is a platform fault. They want people to compete this way because they know that if one driver has a slight advantage of another driver, that's why they have round robins or first come first serves or mass drop systems, whatever you want to call it. That's why they have those systems, because they want drivers to compete, because if drivers compete, the price goes down. Because drivers like Instacart, probably one of the worst platforms out there. If you drop 10 orders, guess what? People accept them right off the bat. They don't care about the miles. All they care about is the money. You drop $50 orders and put them all at 50 plus miles, they're going to be gone instantly. It's just how their systems are built.
So the bots aren't going anywhere. We know that illegal accounts aren't only undocumented people who have entered the country illegally. We know that people who get deactivated go by these. So it's not just about that. There's so many people doing the wrong things. There's probably more people using bots who actually are paying taxes and are in the country or had an account deactivated. So Luis, you are up on bat because you're going to be the final words, but I do want to go to Sergio one more time after we've gone around this. And Sergio, what after everything we've talked about here tonight, and I know this could be very harsh, people, so buckle up. So
we do a lot of talking. There's not a lot of movement though, but
we have a lot of people here who, like Sergio, you have a big voice. I do.
I know, but it's like, to me, the important thing is okay. The reason these companies send out those $2 orders, Gary, which they know I will not take, and I will, snap decline, is because somebody that never, they're seeing an increased number of those $2-3 orders because somebody is doing them now as opposed to before. Nobody did those before. Seriously, like, if you had 3 IQ points, you didn't touch those orders. But now that the companies are seeing that these orders are getting snapped up, I mean, I see it on my app. They put a tip radar for $2.80 and it gets snapped up like this.
So I said it's the gamification that they do with drivers.
Yeah. So what they're doing is that they have a tailwind in this, whatever you want to call it, illegal accounts, fake accounts, illegals doing things. It's not just pound the illegals, but there are people desperate enough who are on their legal accounts who are grabbing these orders. So the economy has a lot to do with it. But the most important thing is, as I said before, it takes time, right? I mean, I'm definitely in touch with a lot of heavy hitting, journalists. And what needs to happen is that the consumer has to get involved. An article here, an article there, I get quoted, whatever is not the issue. Like, there has to be Channel 4 investigates, or they're gonna actually MPU is really interested in doing another piece with us about this subject.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Eric's wife, who was the producer, who was the voice on our video, just had a baby, so he's on leave for a couple more weeks. He goes, Serge, I want to do this. And I'll finish with that. So there is stuff coming up, which I cannot talk about, but some of it I can. So, Vinny mentioned that I had interviewed on Behind the Wheel Trent, who's also in Florida, who rented this account. His wife, Trent's wife, has a house cleaning business, and 90% of the workers are illegal. And the husband came to Trent saying that, can I have your DoorDash account? And Trent was like, yeah, let's test this out. Let's see how this is going to work out. The first week, he gave his account to this gentleman. Obviously, he doesn't look anything like Trent. Trent is a big guy. He doesn't drive the same car as Trent on the app. But the first week, this guy pushed Trent up to top dasher level. He took every order, $2, 10 miles, whatever. He pushed all his numbers through the roof.
Kim.
And he ended up grossing maybe, $1,200 or whatever. And Trent told me, actually, on the interview as well, that not one time in that whole week period, not one time, DoorDash asked for a face verification ID. So then Trent goes, let's try something else the next week. And this is for all of you who decline orders. Maybe that's why Michelle is seeing increased amount of ID checks. The next week, he told the guy, under one condition, I'm going to give you this account for one more week. But this time, you're going to cherry pick. This time, you're going to decline all those $2 10-mile orders that you took. As soon as his acceptance rate numbers started dropping to a certain level, Trent, during the second week, while he didn't get any ID checks the first week because the poor man was taking everything, and he told Trent that, I've rented accounts before. We are strictly told we cannot decline orders. We have to take every single order. Those are the people who are giving him the rentals and the fake accounts and whatever not. The second week, within the first 2 days, when the AR started to drop, Trent got his first ID verification. DoorDash asked Trent 6 times in that week for ID verification.
Yep.
So what is happening is that the good old us who are not taking these $2 orders are getting the face ID, like Michelle is getting the face ID. And then all the people who are actually illegal and doing illegal accounts back, because they're taking all the orders, they are not getting checked at all.
Right. Why would they check them? Sweet.
Well,
You're taking all the trash.
To show there is something very wrong with this picture, right? And I'm just going to finish. Look, you guys are doing great work. Luis obviously is doing the lead work. He's the leading actor in
Dude,
this.
Luis, and that's why again I put him in the middle, because I know Sergio used to put him on
actor, and we all need to support. And when Luis does need help and say help, we need to run. We're not even going to I am anyway, but we're gonna put this. All I want to do is I want to put this in public view. I want to put this in front of the consumer. I don't want justice to be a driver issue. Yes, drivers are getting hurt because there are a lot more people doing these gigs. But I want the consumer to understand, for your convenience, you may be in danger, right? You may be, they're the ones that are paying the bills, and they're the ones that need to understand that this may not be as safe as you all think it is. You push a button, something's showing up, but the next one that shows up may stab you in the heart. So all I know is that this needs to get in front of the consumer. So all I'm asking you all is that instead of talking to your driver communities, start talking to the consumers, start talking to, and I do have a lot of people when I deliver or do rideshare, I'm talkative. Start explaining this situation to your consumers that you're in touch with on a daily basis, as well as your restaurants that you pick up at, as well as when there is a meet at the door. Maybe present a card, or do something and open a conversation. I know they're hungry waiting for the food, but that's what I'm doing. Last 2 weeks, that's what I did. I talked to at least 20 people who had the meet at the door sign as opposed to leave at the door. And they were all willing to talk. And most of them, in fact, said what Steve is experiencing. They said, yeah, you're like the first guy that looked like your picture. I've had a lot. I go, are you reporting these instances? I go, no, we're not, we feel bad. I'm like, no, this is where you come in. You need to report every single one of these. And, most of us have a good heart. Like it happened to me last week. Some lady was supposed to bring my food. Some old Armenian dude brought my food. Like, bro, I'm gonna report your ass for sure. So
Sergio, let me ask you this: if you had a rider in your car, I mean,
Mhm.
this isn't 4, 5, 10 years ago. If you had a
Mhm.
rider in your car tomorrow and he said, "Hey, do you mind showing me your ID? There's a lot of illegals." Would you mind?
absolutely not. In
Would
fact,
anybody else on this panel mind?
No. In fact, what I'm for is, which I'm pushing for behind the scenes, is an ID tag for the driver in the car, just like a taxi cab driver.
And like London does. London does it with their
Put it up there.
TNT. Yeah.
That's your picture, and that's you. And
Wait,
you look
but
at the app, you look at that picture. You don't even have to question the guy. You look at the picture.
don't they
you're
already
like,
have that though in the app though?
Huh?
When we give rides, they have our pictures.
They do have our picture, but
Right.
most
But what about a badge or your ID? But with the badges they use in London, there's an RF code in there. So they know that they are at the right car. Yes, that is him.
Yeah, they do have the app, but like Vinny told me, actually, I was on his program yesterday. He told me about a story that, and he can continue from here. He had a couple come in his car, and they got in a car that the app picture didn't look anything like, on Rideshare too, and didn't look anything like the driver. There, you go ahead and tell him, Vinny. I mean, look, consumer is also, look, man, consumer wants their food fast, their groceries fast. They want to get from A to B fast. They're not into this for what we're into. They need to wake up. They need to understand that this is becoming a dangerous game, and it has to get in front of the consumer. Once it gets in front of the consumer,
yeah,
then the companies will go up. Because right now, they're just hog heaven. Oh, all my $2 orders are getting picked up. Let me send a bunch more of those because they're all getting picked up.
Right.
But do you
Companies don't care.
realize that, like, speaking of like pictures and stuff like that, DoorDash is the only one who doesn't have a picture of their driver on the app?
Exactly. Why not?
You're right.
Simple thing to do.
It's a simple
don't
thing
they
to
have your
do.
picture? Don't you upload your driver
No.
license?
No, that's what I was gonna say. On the verification that DoorDash does with the pictures, I never remember giving them an initial picture to go off of.
So what are
Besides
they
my
verifying
driver-
against?
Yeah, exactly. What are they verifying against?
Oh,
Like,
that's
are
much.
yeah, because I've never taken a picture for DoorDash. Has anybody else?
The very first
No, but I've done the verification ones. What are they verifying it against?
No, the very first verification I've ever done, and this was when did they start doing this? Like a year and a half, 2 years ago. They actually asked for a picture of your driver's license, and you had to scan the license, and then they did the picture verification.
Yeah.
So unless they're going off of that original driver's license, you do. But that was the very first one I did.
Yeah, in
So-
Rideshare, only Uber does that. Uber makes you take a selfie. You started doing it, but their system was messed up. They stopped doing it. Uber from the first day had that self-verification, with a selfie.
I know
I'm shocked with it.
Spark asked me today to verify before I could go online because I haven't done it in 4 years, of course.
Yeah.
So they
Well,
asked me to
at
verify-
least it seems like these things are changing. Like there's more verification, there's more ID checks happening. But yeah, we need to get in front of the consumer. We need to do some sort of major channel, news channel.
I agree. The
Up
consumer,
and do
the
order
consumer is the next level. It has to be.
Consumer is
No,
the
But restaurants have more power than what we give them credit for too. Like, I talk to my restaurants all the time, and they're like, they complain just as much as a lot of the other people, but they actually have the power and the tablets to actually report it. They just don't report it. So
But also, Kim, I think it goes to what Sergio's saying. You can report it. They'll just say it's like what they did to you. Like, hey, Kim, you had a bad experience with this customer. We will never match you with that customer again. We swear. But tomorrow they matched you with him.
Yeah,
I've had that happen as well.
I mean, this is bullshit. I'm sorry. This is just bullshit.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah,
Safety checks are baloney. I mean, everything they do is baloney. They can say, yeah, we do safety checks. We check in with our
Right, but if they're taking the $2 orders, they're just not going to check them.
I can also tell you, before the immigrants landed 2 years ago, I could go into my Chipotle at 7:00 at night, and the shelf would have nothing but orders sitting there. That's gone. The orders are all gone. They're taking the orders, and Panera, Chipotle, those McDonald's, the orders would just sit there, and those pictures would get sent into Facebook constantly. And we never get those anymore because all the orders are getting picked up now.
You guys, as we wind it out here, it has to be Luis. He's been here listening to all of this. He made this amazing video, and yes, amazing. So
Yeah.
even if you guys go over and subscribe to Delivery TV, please. Even if you don't speak Spanish, you don't go give him the support that introduces him to our community, because we have more Spanish speak bilingual people in our community too who need to see his stuff, period. But that video was spot on. That video was extremely powerful. Joe Rubino, if you're still in here, or hopefully I will find a text after this that you're just decided to go ahead and run the story, because I think you should, and I think other media should too. But Luis, this has all happened to you. I know that you're not working the apps right now. I know you're being careful. So now what? Because we all got your back. I don't want to see you let off the gas. What can I do? What can Kim do? What can we all do? We all know what we think we can do. And I know talking to you and just conversation helps, but you have anything in mind? What can we do?
Share the information. Keep sharing the information. And I as I mentioned before in my live stream today, I was talking, and after I post the video, of course I got scared and I was like, should I, why did I, and all those questions. And then I thought, someone have to do it. Someone have to be the face, and someone have to share the information. No one is doing it. I have the power to do it. So let's do it. And you don't know that you are in that fight till you are in that fight. Like, okay, I'm here. Let's do it. But then a question came to my mind, and I asked that in my live stream today. 600 people watching, and as I mentioned before, I asked them, did you spread the word? No, everybody said no. The question that I have in my mind, and I know that the panel here is gonna say yes, but I'm gonna ask this to the audience. I want to know what the audience think about this. Everything that we talk here, that we spoke and share, and the video that I made, this is the question. Is it worth it for you? Do you feel in your heart that this fight, the fight that is Sergio fighting Steve, the panel here, for you watching this video, is it worth it? Do you believe in your heart that this is worth it, or no? And let's just decline and work and forget about it. That's a question that I have for you. And the other thing is, I spoke to you, Steve, in April. We saw each other. We drank a margarita in this great place in Austin. And I was
in Denver.
Yeah, and that was fun. But
yes, we had a nice talk in Austin. Yes.
And in Austin, I was mentioned you and David Picarell. I was sharing this information, and that was in April, months ago. And what I told you in that moment in that restaurant was, the conversation in the Hispanic community is changing. Things are changing in the channel, and things since that moment keep changing. And when I say changing, I mean the audience, the conversation, the need of the audience is changing in my audience. Now people want just bots, easy roads, easy ways to get things, bots. And that is not what Delivery TV is about. And what I shared to you in that moment was, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know. The audience is changing. So I don't know if I'm going to be in the future here. I might not be doing this type of content in the future. So to wrap up, first, is it worth it for you? I want to know that. And the second thing is, of course, I'm scared. I think in this moment, I'm going to take a pause to be with my family. I don't want to touch this subject for a time.
No, I
because
think for us too, like at least, I mean, I can't say for everybody, it'll be coming back. Don't get me wrong, but it's time to put it to rest. And yes, be fighting behind the scenes and doing other things, but let's we need to see what happens over the next month or so.
And finally, and with this, I wrap up. I don't want to lose my train of thoughts. In the way that, okay, I'm gonna pause a little bit. I'm gonna talk about maybe Teletubbies or something in my content. I lost my train of thought, but what I want to say is, sorry. This is, we're doing this for you, and I lost my train of thought. If I remember it before we wrap up, I'll get it again. But it's stressful. We're doing this for you, and yeah, that's it.
Kim, you got any?
Can I just say something to you, Luis? Cutting and running is not my style. I don't know if you know what that means, but look, you are put in this situation for a reason. Some people can handle it, some people cannot handle it, and I know you can. With the sensitive information you have, I do understand, all the thoughts that are in your head. You do it because you want to help other human beings. You don't do it because you're going to get clicks on YouTube.
No, he's a genuine person.
It's garbage.
Trying to help.
The last 2.5 years that what I've been doing is because of that. It's not because I want to help others. And I think your issue is getting results takes time. And I told you this personally before, right? It requires patience, but you are put in the position for a reason. And then I'm sure you will follow through. And I would tell you not to stop, but then obviously, what I'm saying is this: on this subject, don't do it just for clicks and content. This is way above and beyond that. This is way above and beyond clicks and content. We all do clicks. We all like views. We all
sorry,
like all
sorry that I interrupt. You mentioned that, I received a message today, and the guy said, "We know that," and I told him, "I'm not doing this video for you."
Yeah. Everybody knows. Everybody's a keyboard warrior. I'm not worried about those people. Look. You can change things. And I'm telling you, you can. And it takes time. It requires patience, but I know you can. So yeah, go take your little break, and then you'll come back stronger. But I wish I could say what I need to say, but just things are moving.
I heard you.
Things are moving in the right direction. Things are definitely moving in the right direction.
My train of thoughts came back. What I wanted to say is, it's a little bit discouraging. I don't want to end this with a sad note.
No, we're not.
Discouraging.
You're trying to end it with a what to do next note.
But one thing that caught my attention, these viewers sent me this post. Look, Luis, this post, people selling bots and accounts, and I saw the post, and I saw 2,000 comments, and it was amazing how people were there selling bots and stuff on Facebook. You can go to Facebook and you will see it by yourself. You don't need me to tell you.
You can just search Marketplace.
Yeah, and
just search it.
But what caught my attention was the comments. 2,000 comments, and I opened the comments, and all the comments were like, "I want the bot. I need the bot. Where do I buy to get? I want the bot. I want the account. I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. And I was like, okay, I need another margarita.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the intent of your video was to advertise bots, but anyway, so I'm telling you, you've done great work. Just take your little respite, take a little rest, and get refreshed, and you'll come back stronger. I'm pretty sure. But don't do it.
this is new. I haven't said this in my audience, but I am going to take a rest for a time. You won't see me. We will keep talking, but I will stop doing content for a little time. I need a break.
Burnout is real, man. Burnout is real. So don't worry about it. We'll talk, obviously, but there are things that are moving in the right direction. That's it.
And on that, before anybody else that wants to say any last words too, I do want to say that anybody out there, you could be viewing this, you could be watching it on the replay, you could be whatever. If you're hearing this, or hopefully some of these other creators on this panel will get this, keep pushing this message out, because if you know a reporter, get this video to him. Period. Like, that's how I got Joe Rubino in the chat today. We had Joe Rubino from the Denver Post was in here. Okay, now all I did was keep bothering him until he said, "Okay, I'll come."
Yeah.
You know, but it takes some bothering. But let's get this video and let's get this video playing, because that also eases the tension on Luis. This becomes media. It helps him feel a lot more comfortable being like, okay, they're talking about it now. Now it's no big deal. But we got to get the media talking about it. And then it goes to what Sergio said. Then we got to get the consumers talking. It's not about the drivers anymore. The real drivers know it's a big problem. You're not shocking anybody. So I would hope all of us creators will do that, and kind of, hopefully it's a very short, brief pause and he gets the rest he needs and he's right back and he does what because Luis, I know, here's what I know about you. If you take a break with your family and it's needed, take it. You'll be back soon and you'll find a way to present what you want. And I have a feeling you're going to get back on this in a way that feels more safe to you. I just know you. I just know you're just not going to go, you know what? I just don't think I should. You've come this far, man. You've gone so far. And you know, I'm proud of you. I'm proud to be your friend. I think you're an amazing person. And, you know, like I said, I think I'm speaking for everybody. We all do really have your back. So,
thank you.
I mean, yeah.
And yes, my door is open. So come on down.
Oh yeah. I will.
You guys listen.
You in 5 minutes.
You guys you guys in the chat, thank you for sticking with us tonight. I saw a lot of chat going on. I was going to try and get to it, but obviously we're way over. I want to thank Kim, obviously. I want to thank Michelle. I want to thank Gary for joining us. I want to thank Vinny. I want to thank Cheyenne. I want to thank Tom, and I want to thank Sergio big time. And I absolutely, obviously, we have to all thank Luis. This was all about his video. Hopefully, if you did miss it and you joined us late, go, and if you want to go to his channel, watch it. It's got the subtitles, or you can roll back to the start of this and watch it. Just watch it, because it's powerful and it needs to be heard. And it
is the English version on Luis's channel as well.
I'm going to send it to Luis. I don't even know if he'd want it on his channel.
No, keep it in yours.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's in this long form. I didn't know, you know, maybe I'll send it over to Sergio and Chris and let them do what they want with it, because it is translated now, Sergio. It's got his. But
it's fair to say that in my account you have subtitles and you will read it, so you can also.
Is it dubbed or how?
No, I ran it through the AI generator that actually changes his mouth movement, moved it back to English, and it sounds just.
Oh, okay. You use 11 Labs. Okay, yeah. You know what? let me talk to Chris about this.
Well, I'll just send it to you guys. You can do what you want.
Yeah,
I'll send it to Google.
We may post it on our channel. Yeah. Let's see.
So in that video, my pronunciation of Uber is Uba, and that's funny. That's funny.
Uba dupa. No,
but it really was, you guys. If you did miss it, go back and watch it. Go watch it on his channel. It does have the subtitles, so you can even watch it that way. It doesn't matter. Just go watch it.
Yeah, send it to Chris and me, please.
Yeah, I will. As soon as it's over.
Just real quick, after meeting Luis in person, he is probably one of the most genuine people that I've ever met. So Luis, great video, and I look up to you. So just keep the fight, take your vacation, do what you need to do, and you know what, keep the punches coming.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, but make sure you feel safe about him. That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
and again, and I mean this, dude. This is you, and you know this, Luis, from our talks. Like I got your back. What do you need? Just let me know. And I know everybody up here feels the same way. So you guys, when I'm gonna send this off to the Rideshare team. They're gonna post it on the Rideshare Guy channel, and let's all share it. Let's all get it out there. And when you share it, add your little twist into the comment above the shared video. You watch this video that the Rideshare Guy posted from Luis at Delivery TV, and here's my take on it. Put a little spin on it, put a little something on it, and get it out there in the communities, because I mean this needs to be picked up by news first. I know the customer thing is big too, but the news picking it up would be a really good thing. Period.
News is going to pick it up. Don't worry.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. But let's get it to everybody. Should be running this story. Period.
Well,
I mean,
some are very. Some of the news, as you know, is a little.
The some of the non fully controlled. Yeah, exactly.
The news.
But I mean, there's enough big news outlets that should be running this.
Well, no, yeah, but most of the news is a little left. So when they see illegal immigrants and this and that, I'm like, whatever. But it has to be the right news. But news is going to pick it up, so it's okay. Yeah,
Vinny, do you have a final word?
I just wanted to stipulate there was something that was said earlier, and I'll make it quick. We're not, at least when I talk about it, and it sounds the same here on the panel. We're not talking about illegal immigrants. We're talking about illegal accounts. It's so much bigger,
big difference
than what's coming across the border. What's coming across the border is a political and national issue and disgrace. But we're talking about illegal accounts.
Yes,
I know somebody that he got deactivated like 7. Hell, I ain't even got to go there. We all know somebody on YouTube. All right, something trader. That some bumpkin has had about 15 DoorDash accounts and still going strong. That's my guy, okay? So I'm just saying, it's not that we're referring to illegal people entering the country or however you want to term that. That's another fight, another day. It's illegal accounts. That's my thing. I just wanted to stipulate that.
Mm-hmm. All right, you guys. Again, chat, thank you for joining. I saw a lot of chat going on. I'm going to want to go back and watch the replay of just the chat. And again, Luis, really just major props for putting out that video. When he first sent it to me, I sent him a joke back just to end on a little humorous note. I sent him a joke back of the Anchorman video where he's like, talking to the dog. He's like, I don't speak Spanish. So he's like, read the subtitles, and then Sergio sent it to me, and I was like, wait, what's going on? So then I was like,
I didn't know. I was like, man, it was great. It was so well done. I mean, that's high quality production there, not like our videos.
So for the next hour, we're gonna be talking about Kamala and Trump. Nah, just
let's go, bro. I'm with it. Let's go. Let's go.
This is where we end the stream, guys.
And this is where we ended.
All right, man, I tell you something.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching live. Thank you for watching on the replay on the audio podcast. Until next week, be safe, earn smart, and Kim.
Kindness is always free.
Absolutely.
She was slapping at the temple.